Hello class, this is lesson 22, polyatomic ions. It's very similar to lesson 20 and lesson 21 in that once again we had the word ions, so we're working with charged atoms, atoms that have a positive charge or a negative charge, and that is because they either gained or lost electrons. But now we have polyatomic, so when we deal with polyatomic, it has poly and atom. Poly means many, so we have many atom ions. In other words, we have ions made up of many atoms. So these are the ones we learned about earlier in the year, but we didn't really actually learn about what they are. So here are some groups of polyatomic ions, groups of atoms that have a charge. This is one that's very common, NO3. Another one that we talked about this year is SO4 2-. And then a third one that we talked about so far this year is OH 1-. Now when we did this, we didn't mention the charges, but NO3 we learned is nitrate. SO4, this group that has a -2 charge, is called sulfate. And an oxygen and a hydrogen put together with a -1 charge is called hydroxide. These are three very common polyatomic ions that we'll see a lot in chemistry class. And these are groups of atoms that have a charge. So NO3, this nitrogen and three oxygens together, stole an electron from another atom. Sulfate, SO4, is very stable as a group. Together, these things stole 2 electrons from other atoms. And oxygen combined with hydrogen is also very stable. Together, these two things stole 1 electron from another atom. And that is why they all have negative charges. They don't always necessarily have to be negative. Most of them are negative. But there are things like NH4. NH4 has a positive 1 charge. And this is called ammonium. So ammonium and other things can be positively charged if they lose electrons, or the whole group can be negatively charged if they steal electrons. So let's see how we can use these, how these things will combine with other things. So we established that sodium has 1 outer electron. It will lose 1 electron, and when it loses this outer electron right here, it will become sodium 1+. So sodium is positive 1 when it's happy and stable. And let's take a look at nitrate, NO3. NO3 is 1-. And I put the wrong thing in there, so let me erase that. My apologies. 1-. So when these two things combine, sodium's +1, nitrate is -1. So these two things will come together. They have opposite charges, so they'll be attracted to one another. And they will form NaNO3. The name of this would be sodium nitrate. Once again, a thing that has a positive charge is always named and listed first. The thing that has a negative charge is always listed second and named second. Sodium nitrate. Let's take a look at one that's a little bit more complicated. Let's say now we have calcium, which has 2 outer electrons. It'll lose those 2 outer electrons. It'll be 2+. And now let's say this calcium combines with nitrate. These do not have equal and opposite charges. So therefore, do we need more positives or do we need more negatives? Well, if we have 2 positives, we need 2 negatives. So how many nitrates would give us a -2 charge? Well, if one has a -1 charge, we would need a second polyatomic ion of nitrate to have a -2. And so these two things will link up. 1 calcium combines with 2 nitrates. However, it gets a little tricky. We have 2 of these groups. We need 2 of everything. And so this is why we need to put it in parentheses. Before we've seen things in parentheses, this is why. If you see a 2 outside the parentheses, that means we have 2 nitrates. And together this will be calcium nitrate. Let's do one more. Let's say we have aluminum sulfate. Aluminum has 3 outer electrons. It wants to lose 3, therefore aluminum will have a +3 charge. Sulfate, as we saw just a little bit ago, is a group 1 sulfur, 4 oxygens put together. This group has a -2 charge. So what is the lowest common multiple these two numbers have? Because they're not equal and opposite, we need to find it, and we need to have 6 plus and 6 minus. 2 times 3 would give us 6. So to get a 6 positive, we need 2 aluminums. To get a 6 minus, we would need to have 3 sulfates. And when we write this out, we always write the positive thing, the cation first. We need 2 aluminums. We'll combine with 3 sulfates. So we need 3 of this whole thing. So it would be Al2 parentheses SO4 parentheses 3. Alright. That is it for today's lesson. Hope you understand and hope you enjoyed.